Hey y'all, it's Jen. Thanks for stopping by my channel. I had promised a subscriber that I would do a video showing how I made the covers to these pocket notebooks. These can very easily be turned into journals just by working in them, adding things into them. These are made with TaylorMade Digital's antique book covers. These are from set 1. She just released recently set 2, which I don't have yet, but I will have. These are stitched. These are the ones that I use the large paper clips in. And I have a video showing how I made those as well. So I will show just how I make the cover. There are tons and tons and tons of videos showing how to stitch in a signature using a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, which is what I used for these. It's usually what I use. Sometimes I use a 5-hole. But I knot them in the middle and I leave them long so that things can be added. But when I'm working in the journals to begin with, I tie them in a bow just to keep the strings out of the way and keep them from getting tangled into other things. So these are stitched around. They're distressed. They are cardstock and coffee dyed paper. And this one happens to have the third sheet on this one is another one of TaylorMade Journals Digital's. I think this is in her antique marble and end papers set. So, and then these come from another set from her. These are her French roast coffee dyed papers. Anyway, I'll link the flip through to this below and link her digitals that I used as well as her Etsy shop. And then the labels that I used on 2 of them are from Artymaze, and today I'm going to use the brown ones. She gave these as a freebie in the Artymaze and Friends Facebook group a long time ago in 4 different colors, I believe. So today I'm going to use some of the brown ones, and I printed them in the full sheet, and then I printed them 2 to a sheet, so I got smaller sizes because I wasn't sure what I wanted to use. So I started 2 different covers. This is what they look like when they're just printed on cardstock. This one I cut around them. This one I actually cut the leather looking trim off the side of it. So this is what I ended up with. Really pretty. And then I backed them with 2 layers of coffee dyed paper. This one has a layer of fully coffee dyed paper in the middle, and then a layer of this grungy, blotchy looking coffee dyed paper. This is the other one that I'm going to be making, and I'm going to be making this one a little bit different because this paper clip came out larger than the other one that I made. So she needs a little bit more room. But same concept. This one I used a creamier coffee dyed paper on the inside of it. So the first thing that I do is I round the corners, because I just think I like the look better. I think it makes it look a little more aged. Sometimes it's a little easier to stitch around the corners than it is for me to stitch on the squared off corners. But I liked the look of the distressed covers with the rounded corners. So that's the first thing I do. Now I'm going to take these to my sewing machine, and I am going to only stitch starting about here, around the corner, all the way down the edge, and then I'm going to stop about here. And I'm not going to worry about back stitching because later I'm going to stitch right over the top of part of that. And I'm going to do that on both sides of each one, and I'm going to do that off camera because I want to change my color of thread. I'm going to use blue thread for this one and I want to use gold thread for this one. So it'll take me a few minutes to do that, so I will do that, and then I will continue on with the video. Okay, so I stitched around here with a straight stitch, and there's a reason why I used a straight stitch on these. It's because I'm going to distress these edges and ink these edges up after I get done sewing. No, I'm not. I'm going to do that now. So I have this one and the other one stitched just on the ends, and then I am going to take my scissors, and I find that these work a little bit better than these for me, because once I get the cover into these little grooves, it pretty much stays there, and I'm not slipping and sliding and accidentally, you know, pulling. You know, sometimes you can be doing it with this and you'll slip, and then you'll slice a hole and rip your cover open, and it's a disaster. So I'm going to distress with these. And I'll just keep doing that. So I'm happy with how it looks. Make a mess. Okay, and then after I get the distress in it that I want, I will then take my Distress Oxide Vintage Photo, or whatever ink that you want, and just ink around to kind of highlight those distressed edges. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fold. So you're going to score and fold these. So this one happens to be 10.5 inches across, and for me it just depended upon how my print came out as to how large my cover was, because these are not very big. Okay, so on this one I found my middle, which was 5 1/4, and scored there at 5 1/4. And then I came over 1/8 of an inch, which is 1 mark, and scored on each side of that middle score line. And what that does is it gives it some easement, so that when you're putting pages into this notebook, your cover's not going to crack as easy, and your cover will eventually round on this edge. And then what I did was each end I scored at 1.5 inches. Okay. And then you're going to fold this end, and you're going to put just a little bit of glue here if you need it to hold it into place. And that's how I made the little pockets on each side. Then I'm going to take it back to the sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch, and that's the reason why I said I'm going to stitch over the top of here, so I didn't need to back stitch. I'm going to stitch all the way around the whole thing. And so that's going to hold these pockets into place. Okay, and then it's going to finish this cover out all the way around. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be back. Okay, so I am done stitching that. And so now I have these pockets. So now I want to add an eyelet. I know I keep calling them grommets. I want to add an eyelet, and I'm going to add it here, right about where my thumbs are. in the center. And then if I want to leave this pocket long, that's all I would do. If I want to have two different pockets here, and if this being lifted up a little bit bugs me, then what I would do is I would stitch around a little rectangle around that eyelet to hold this down where you had two separate pockets. And I did that on some of them. And then I would stitch my signature in. And then after I stitch the signature in is when I would add the lace or trim to the side. If you wanted lace or trim on this one, I am going to, so that it covers up the stitches where I stitched in the signature. And then just add in a tie. This is just looped in, and I beaded the end. And that's all I did with them. This is an open pocket. There are some in the flip through. You can see that I stitched a little rectangle right around here, and I just went around twice to double stitch it, made sure I back stitched so that it was locked in, to reinforce the pulling on both of those pockets. So then this is the label that I am choosing to put on this one. I thought about using the ovals, but I don't think it has quite the same impact. I like this one better. So this is the one I'm going to use for this one. And then this is the other cover. And because I needed it bigger to house her, I only scored one side to fold as a pocket. And then I'm going to leave, and then I'm going to have that as a front pocket. So then I'm just going to add an eyelet on this side. And then I will glue these ends down, stitch all the way around. And that will be my cover for that one. I hope that this video made sense. I'm not used to doing tutorial type videos, but I'm getting more and more requests for them, and if you're gonna request them, I'm going to do them. It's just in me to do that if people ask. So occasionally I may say, no, that's too difficult for me to film right now, because even though I've been making journals for a long time, and these are gonna be like 320 and 21, 320 and 21 journals that I've made, depending upon whether I complete them before another journal, which I have 319 I'm working on right now. This one is almost done. I decided to stitch around all the pages just because I liked it. But anyway, it's sometimes difficult for me to do the tutorials, so I will try, and I'll be slow at it, and it'll take me a while to edit, and my life is nuts and things change constantly. But I will try. So I hope that this video made sense to you. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. If there's anything else that you want to see, please let me know. All right, thanks you guys.